First of all, I want to thank all of you for making the conference really successful this year. I've heard a lot of good things, especially about things like bacon. So I appreciate the fact that you're here. So as tradition with the conference, the first thing I do is talk about the attendance level and then thank all the people who made it possible. So we were able to achieve almost 700 attendees. 696 is the exact number, but let's call it 700 and call it a day. We had 67 attendees at the Carolina ERISA workshops, which is a good number. I think all of those people really benefited from the topics that they spent the day learning about. And we also had 45 exhibit booths. I heard a couple of comments around that they'd been to other conferences and they were just stunned that we had that many exhibit booths. So that's a credit to all of you who exhibited, and we thank you for that participation. One of the things that the team will do when we get back to Raleigh is to start looking at the evaluation tool that you'll be seeing over the next few weeks. We really would appreciate, especially this year when we've made changes to the program and we've made changes to the venue, obviously, to give us that feedback. Let us know what you think, good, bad, or ugly. We're resilient. We can take any and all comments. So please take the time to do that. We make changes based on what you tell us, and what we've been able to do with the program, for instance, extending it to that third day was a direct result of your comments. So please take the time to do that. We had about 250 responses from 2017. We'd like to beat that number, so that's your challenge. Next thing I would like to do is thank all the people that helped me. I'm more of the director and the planner, leading people to do great work, but it's the work that they do that makes it different. And what I'd like to do is first hold your applause until the end, but I would actually like to call the names of the people and have them stand. Chris Butts from Carolina ERISA was in charge of the workshops, if he's here. Rich Elkins, Department of the Secretary of State. Diane Enright from DHHS, who's responsible for the bacon and the ice cream and other things. Jeff Essick, who has done just the lion's share of the work with respect to the program, had this crazy idea that we don't need session titles, but I think the way we've done it this year may be a trend for the future, so thank you, Jeff. David Giordano, one of the vendor chairs, and his cohort, Andy Goretti from Mecklenburg County. David is on my staff. Thanks, guys. Lisa Holtzberger stepped in when Wayne Brewer was not able to join us as president of Carolina ERISA. Lisa joined us all the way from the city of Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. She had to leave early, so I'm sure she's not here, but she really stepped up and did a great job of supporting the team. Trish Patterson from the city of Burlington. She and Eddie Shipman were in charge of the poster session. I think the poster session was really a hit this year. I saw lots of people there, and I think we've gotten more responses in the voting. You'll hear about that later, but they both did a great job of organizing that. And last but not least, my technology chair and my creative director, Brett Spivey, responsible for the Corvette. I think you would agree that the program is very varied and touches almost every piece of GIS activity in North Carolina and even outside the state. So I'd like to recognize all of those folks individually. Andy Belcher from NC State, Jeff Brown from CGIA, Jason Clodfelter from Forsyth County, Jeff Essick from NC State Library, Dan Matting from the NC Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, Hope Morgan from the Department of Public Safety, she's in the back, Sarah Sheldon from the city of Asheville, Linda Wayne from GeoMaxim, Eric Wilson from GeoDecisions, and Sarah Ray from NCDOT. So I thank all of you. You did a great job. We're going to get to the awards in a few minutes, but the awards committee comes together briefly in January and into February to look at the applications that were submitted and make the best decision they thought was possible with those that submitted applications. So I'd like to recognize those folks. It's a smaller group. Jeff Brown from CGIA, Rich Elkins from the Department of Secretary of State, Dan Matting from Agriculture, and Alice Wilson from the City of New Bern. If you guys would stand. I can't see it. I say this at every conference, but that doesn't mean it's not true at this one too, that the exhibitors make a difference, because the exhibitors at our conference fund a good portion of what we do in addition to your registrations. So without the strong vendor presence, we wouldn't be able to have the conference. Or if we had it, the registration fees would be considerably higher than they are. As a state entity, we're not allowed to have sponsors, as you might see at other conferences. So we rely on your registrations and those exhibitor fees to carry the load, so to speak, for carrying out the conference. So we had 45 exhibit booths this year, representing 42 vendors. A few had multiple booths. One of the incremental improvements we made in 2017, starting in 2017 and continuing this year, was the vendor demo theater. We hope you enjoyed that. We hope that was a stronger experience than it was in 2017. And we'd like to get your feedback on whether we continue that or how we change it, how we improve it. So we're looking to improve that. I would like to thank our official partner for the conference, and that's the Carolina URISA chapter. They'll be celebrating an anniversary themselves not too long from now. We appreciate their workshop definition of the workshops they want to serve the people of North Carolina and GIS practitioners in particular. So we thank them for their service to the conference. We had a new partner this year with registration and event management, and that was the NC State University Office of Professional Development. And we've worked with them for the past year or so to plan the conference. They do conference planning in and out of Raleigh for a living, so they were familiar with processes and so forth, and we were able to integrate what they knew with what we knew about our particular conference. So I'd like to thank Jennifer Lawson and her team back in Raleigh and that planned the effort, and the team that was here on site supporting us. So thank all of you. We had a number of volunteers this year to help Diane Enright in working in the arrangements area, but we really got a surprise. I was contacted a few months ago by Samantha Neely from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, just out of the blue. So I think she heard something about our conference. She wanted to experience it, she wanted to work it, and she wanted to take back what she learned from being with you, seeing how the conference is done, the content, and how it works, because they want to do a better job with their state conference themselves, and she's heavily involved in that. So I think she had to leave and catch a plane because they've got some kind of snow thing going on potentially in Pennsylvania. We don't know anything about that, of course, but we appreciate her being here and contributing. I think she made a good contribution. So last but not least, I'd like to thank my staff at CGIA for putting up with me and my craziness, pacing the hallways occasionally, worrying about things related to the conference. So I'll stop doing that as of next week. How's that? Okay. One of the highlights of the conference for me always is the Herb Stout Awards. And as you know, we have two categories of awards, the local government awards, where we recognize a city and a county, and an award for students that are represented in each of the universities that choose to participate. So I would like to go ahead and get started in recognizing those folks. A little background for those of you who are not familiar. Herb Stout was a Wake County Commissioner, chairman of the Triangle J Council of Governments, and the inspiration behind this conference that dates back to 1987. It was one of the first statewide conferences in the country, grew over the years to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, but it had its inspiration from him. We're here to serve the citizens of North Carolina. Herb wanted us to do that the very best way possible, using the latest technology and using it in the right way to serve the citizens. And I think, these days, that's even more important than it was, 25 years ago or so. So, unfortunately, Herb was taken from us 27 years ago, but we'd like to believe that we still have that inspiring voice in the back of our heads saying, continue to do what you're doing and don't be satisfied with what you're doing. Push the envelope and just serve the citizens that are part of North Carolina. So with that said, I'd like to recognize Mrs. Luana Stout and members of the Stout family who are here today. They've joined us every year. We appreciate them taking the time to be here. Before I move on to the awards, I want to recognize a couple of people who drove in just for today. Lori Fuller, General Counsel of the Department of Information Technology, and Jessica Middlebrooks, who's actually counsel to the Geographic Information Coordinating Council. They want to know more about what we're doing, and they heard something about Tim purchasing a Corvette or something. It's just a Matchbox car, I swear. So they're not here to interrogate me. Are you? Glad you're here. Okay, so let's move on to the awards. In 2017, we took a step back and wanted to kind of reemphasize our commitment to Herb's memory and to the family by initiating the Herb Stout Cup as part of the award structure. So in 2017, the award was won at the county level by Catawba and Forsyth counties. So they actually shared the award over the 2-year period. It went first to here in Forsyth County, and they actually shuttled it to Catawba County after the first year. And they took the opportunity, just like the special place that I mentioned on Wednesday, they took the time not only just to hand off the cup, but to sit down and talk about what things they had in common, what things they could work on together potentially, what things they could learn from each other. So they told me that, and I was just totally stunned by the fact that they would take that extra time, not just a transaction-based sending the award to the new county, but that was great. So we appreciate them handling it that way. So we do have the cups back. They've been engraved with the new recipients. I'd like to thank each of the applicants who submitted applications. The awards committee saw several that they thought were worthy of the award, but at the end of the day, one was selected for the city and the county categories. So what I'd like to do is talk first about the city winner and then have that winner come up along with Mrs. Stout to present the award. So in the city category, the city of Asheville won the award this year for their application called Mapping Racial Equity. The awards committee concluded that the city's application best exemplified a visionary use of geospatial technology and data among the other municipal submissions. The city developed geospatial data and published a compelling story map to support planning and informed decisions regarding racial equity. The story map displays changes in population by race, historic redlining of real estate by race, and neighborhood change. It adds historic elements, including a crowdsourced history map. The data sets and web services are designed to inform housing strategies, parks planning, and the work of the Office of Racial Equity in the city of Asheville and other city initiatives. The review team found the theme of the story map to be new and different and attractive to view, and the content is not specific, even though it's specific to Asheville, it's applicable to other jurisdictions as well. So I would like to call up Kristen McNamara and Scott Barnwell from the city of Asheville to accept the award, and we're excited to award it to you.
I just want to say we are so honored to have this work recognized, and I'd like to really say thank you to the Stout family. It's been lovely to meet you. And thank you to the selection committee and, of course, the conference committee. This has been such a wonderful week. And I just want to, after presenting on Wednesday, I've had just amazing discussions with so many people here. They're doing such tremendous work, and it's just an honor to serve with you all. So thank you so much.
So the county award really operates off of a theme that you've heard in the beginning of the conference on Wednesday and the rest of the day on Wednesday and then throughout later in the week. And that is about incident management after an event, such as Hurricane Florence. The winner of this year's award is Onslow County for their Citizen Damage Incident Survey application. I want to talk to you about it just briefly before I call them up. Onslow County developed and deployed an easy-to-use, citizen-focused application under challenging conditions and time constraints during the response to Hurricane Florence. Gaining information directly from the residents about damage inside buildings not evident from outside observers was valuable in damage assessment and saved field time for more than 500 cases of interior damage within their area. Integration of the data designed for the tool with the software used to estimate damage was recognized as a valuable element for interpreting the information gathered from citizen reports. The dashboard developed at the same time is informative for decision makers. The tool, publicized on local newscasts and social media, engaged citizens and generated useful information for damage assessment and for predicting flood extent for future events. So I'd like to bring to the podium now Angelia Hagopian for recognition for that award. I will make you hold the cup at the same time.
Hello. Ooh. This is my first NCGIS conference. All week I have been amazed by the projects and work I have seen in the innovative use of GIS. I am truly honored and humbled to accept this award and be included in that same category. It's kind of mind-boggling, so thank you very much.
The next set of awards goes to the Herb Stout students. The way this process works is each campus in North Carolina is offered the opportunity to recognize students who are doing exemplary work in GIS within their institutions. This year we have 16 students to recognize, representing 11 campuses across the state. The conference provides a $100 check and a certificate and an opportunity to present at the conference. And all these folks have obviously taken that opportunity, and speaking with them before the lunch today, I think they all had a great experience speaking, got great feedback, and just some momentum for the future as they pursue their additional educational work. So if Una Freeman is in the house, she was supposed to help me present. There she is. So what we'd like to do is call the names, save your applause to the end. And I'll read off the names and Una will present the certificates. And for all the award winners, both the local governments and the students, we'll take pictures right over here as soon as the session is over this afternoon, okay? Yeah. Hi, Una. Well, you can talk if you want.
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so in alphabetical order, obviously, Megan Cope from UNC Greensboro. Isaac Davis from Warren Wilson College. Richard Foster from North Carolina Central University. Alfie Frederick, Fayetteville State University. Hannah Harper from Elon University, and this is the first time Elon has participated, so we're super excited to have Hannah here. Amy Kish from UNC Pembroke. Blaine Larry from North Carolina Central University. Do I need to slow down? Tatiana McGee from Appalachian State University. Jessica Miller from UNC Greensboro. Kellen Montgomery from North Carolina State University. Derek Morris Jr. from Elizabeth City State University. Ashley Milliken from UNC Chapel Hill. Etzel Norwood II from Elizabeth City State University. Lindsay Nystrom from UNC Asheville. And I'll just say for Lindsay, that last name is a special name because it's a geographer who was head of the Association of American Geographers way back in the day, but a relative of hers. Tong Q from UNC Chapel Hill. And last but not least, Matthew Wilson from Appalachian State University. Just thank them all. Great job. Next on the agenda, we're going to announce the poster session winners, and I'm going to call Eddie Shipman to the podium to make those presentations.
I'd like to thank everyone for participating in the poster session. This year we ended up with a wait list, which was pretty awesome. We had over 246 people vote, which I think may be a record. It's pretty good. I think we could do better, though. Y'all vote next time, please. And I'm going to announce these in... starting from third. We had a tie for third place. Ian Johnson, Kim Rhodes, and Greg Dobson from UNC Asheville's NEMAC. You will be getting, in addition to your participation, you'll be getting another certificate for your third place. Also tied for third place was Ms. Megan Cope of NCGICC Transportation. In second place, we had Mark Andreas, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And in first place, Raul of the City of Raleigh. So thank you all for participating. I concur with Tim. This, I believe, was the best poster session we've had. So thanks, y'all.
Before we move to the special presentation for this afternoon, I want to talk about some giveaways we have. Vendors allowed people to put their name in a hat. We have the winners, and we have 4 recipients and 4 awards, or 4 prizes. You have to be present to win. So if I call a name and you don't, excuse me, if I call a name and you don't run to the stage, we're going to go to the next name. So be quick. Okay, first prize is a $50 Amazon gift card provided by Rock Technologies. And the winner is Michelle Shear from the University of Miami. Is she here? You know, Miami played Wake Forest in a basketball game this week. I was wondering if she was here for the basketball game too. Okay, she's not here. That's too bad. Okay, so second on the list is Alice Wilson, City of New Bern. She just left. Oh, are you sure? Oh, she's here. So she's still here. Now we need to get legal advice. I'll tell you what, if she comes back in, we'll figure out a way. How's that? So in the event she's not here, the next person on that list is Rachel Smith from Moore County GIS. And she is here. Okay, the second prize, a handheld laser distance meter from Transit and Level Incorporated. I want to see this one. Where's this? Oh, okay. Gotcha. So the winner on this one is Amy Durden from Elizabeth City GIS. Is Amy here? Does anybody know if she's here? Okay. Oh, well. Moving down the list, Scott Miller from Western Piedmont COG. He's gone. So we're going to have a new drawing. Okay, Mary Johnson, City of Winston-Salem. That's it. Those are the ones. No, two. There's two more. Okay, the next. Oh gosh. You know what? I'm gonna make a change here. We're gonna give this to somebody. Let's go with Brandon Inscore from Withers and Ravenel. Good. Okay. Yeah. Great job, Dave. The next gift on the list is a 32-inch Roku TV, obviously the big box. It was provided by Michael Baker International. And the name on the list is Dermis Caesar from Durham GIS. Oh, gee. Okay, here we go. Down the list, Travis Howell from Withers Ravenel. Of course. Okay, so the last gift is probably the one I'd like to have, but I can't have one, can I? No. Okay. So this is a Telomimi UAV drone provided by JMT Technology Group, who was one of the new vendors we had this year, right? So the first person on the list is Jimmy Thriett from Pickens County, South Carolina, GIS. There he is. Well, hallelujah. Okay, we've got to do a better job of this next time. All right, so I'm really excited to talk to you about our special presentation this afternoon because I think it's important for the advancement of our community in North Carolina to continue to make it that special place where GIS is concerned. Alex Rankin is the chair of the North Carolina Geographic Information Coordinating Council. He became chair in November of 2017, but had served prior to that as an advisory member and as an appointed member. So he wasn't new to the council. Governor Cooper appointed him to help lead the council into its next phase. So Alex is chairman of the board of Concord Engineering and Surveying in Concord, North Carolina, brings a private sector perspective and a strong interest in making sure that our technology really does serve the citizens of North Carolina. And we'd like to welcome him to the podium and get your phones out because he's going to have some more polling and it's going to give you some results of those polling questions you answered before. And when Alex's remarks have concluded, I'll come back to the podium for some final thoughts, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Good afternoon, folks. How's everybody? Got coffee? Are you awake? If not, I'm going to try and wake you up a little bit. I realize that I and Tim are the only thing that stand between you and the highway home. So we will move through this with alacrity and hopefully provide a little bit of information and some fun. And then we will get you on your way home for a glorious weekend of blue skies and sunshine and warm temperatures. So, what is the Geographic Information Coordinating Council? The GICC was established by the North Carolina General Assembly to develop policies regarding the use of geographic information systems, and related technologies. It was created in 1991 by executive order, which is fairly early in the use of computerized GIS. And it was one of the first GIS statewide coordination bodies in the nation. It was reestablished or fully established in general statute in 2001. So who is the GICC? It's made up of 33 members. There are governor appointments. The governor appoints the head of an at-large state agency, an employee of a county government, an employee of a municipal government, an employee of the federal government, a representative of the lead regional organizations, a member of the general public, and that would be me, other individuals whom the governor deems appropriate. The General Assembly has appointments. The President pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House each have 3 members to appoint to the council. And then the standing members of the council are the Secretary of State, the Commissioner of Agriculture, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, the Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, the Secretary of the Department of Administration, the Secretary of the Department of Commerce, the Secretary of the Department of Crime Control and Public Safety, the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, Secretary of the Department of Revenue, the President of the North Carolina Community College System, the President of the University of North Carolina System, the Chair of the Public Utilities Commission, the State Budget Officer, the Executive Director of the North Carolina League of Municipalities, and the Executive Director of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners or their designees. So you can see that it is a broad group with a lot of people that represent a lot of information that needs to be managed and in a geospatial manner. It's a data-driven geospatial collaboration, and the structure for GIC is made up of those stakeholders invested in GIS operations, volunteers such as a lot of you, and those stakeholders and volunteers make up committees and working groups that do the actual work of the GICC. The active committees of the GICC include the Federal Interagency Committee, whose members include representatives from all interested federal agencies with an office located in North Carolina and the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians. The GIS Technical Advisory Committee reviews and recommends specifications related to hardware, software, and database standards and practices. The Local Government Committee is from organizations and professional associations that serve or represent local government. The Management and Operations Committee provides advice and support to the GICC on organizational and programmatic matters. The State Government GIS Users Committee is open to all interested state government employees. The Statewide Mapping Advisory Committee works to develop and update data, content standards, consolidate statewide mapping requirements, and oversee creation and maintenance of council priority geospatial data. And then we have working groups that are not standing committees but are formed on an ad hoc basis to address specific issues. The 2022 Reference Frame Working Group is working on the changes coming up in 2022, where the center of the coordinate system for the continental United States will shift several meters, and that has all kinds of implications because most GIS systems are based on, for local governments, are based on state plane coordinates. State plane coordinates are based on the reference frame that we're working from, which is going to move. So there's a lot of conversation there about how to incorporate this in a fashion that offers benefits and minimizes the disruptions that it could cause. The Metadata Committee of the Statewide Mapping Advisory Committee works to expand and improve geospatial metadata. North Carolina Board on Geographic Names is responsible for the names on maps and whether they should be changed or if there are questions about them. The Hydrography Working Group, the Working Group on Census Geospatial Data, which is with the 2020 census coming up, is a very important group. The Working Group for Orthoimagery and Elevation, the Working Group for Roads and Transportations, and a working group that is finishing up its work, but with a legacy that probably will have continued involvement, is the Working Group for Professional Land Surveying and GIS. And I think that there was a presentation yesterday from the North Carolina Board of Examiners for Engineers and Surveyors that probably touched on a lot of the work that this working group has engaged in over the past several years. So, what does GICC do? Well, there's a word chart that illustrates a lot of what we are about. We collaborate in geographic information and systems involving state, federal, and local government agencies, academic institutions, private organizations, and individuals across the state. We work to improve the quality, access, cost-effectiveness, and utility of North Carolina's geographic information resources and promote geographic information as a strategic resource, such as the emergency response for Hurricane Florence that we've talked a lot about over the course of this conference. We strive to efficiently collect, develop, and use geographic information through voluntary exchange and the sharing of data and technical know-how. And we explore, guide, and provide a framework for coordination, including developing standards, planning strategically, resolving policy and technical issues, providing central direction and oversight, and advising the governor and the legislature concerning the directions, responsibilities, and funding regarding geographic information systems. So we have priorities for this current year. We have 5 priorities for 2018 and 2019. They are improving the quality of stream data sets, enhancing the statewide municipal boundaries data set to integrate annexations seamlessly and automatically, investigating solutions for the lack of public access to utility infrastructure data. We had a panel on that on Wednesday. Increasing local to state data sharing in support of NextGen 911, and integrating additional priority data into NC1 map. So GICC's committees and working groups are tackling these priorities. So we're going to do a little polling here. So pull out your personal device with your conference app on it. And what we'd like you to do is to rank. I just read you the priorities, the 5 priorities for GICC for this year. We'd like you, and there they are on the screen, we'd like you to rank those, 1 being the most important to you and 5 the least important. We'd like you to rank those priorities. So does everybody have those 5 ranked now? Are we good, Jennifer? We good? Okay. So next, using 2 words, what are the 2 words you have that say what is missing from GICC priorities for this year? Okay. And finally, 1 word or 2 words to describe the greatest challenge in your work at your workplace. All right. So we also have did some polling earlier this week, and we have results of the polls that we posed on Wednesday. And so the question is, are you the one and only GIS staff member in your department? And 23% answered yes to that, 78% no, 22% and 78%. The next question from Wednesday was, how long have you been in your current position? 34% were 1 to 5 years and 25% were 15 years. Does your department use one or more GIS contractors for GIS technical assistance? 41% said yes. And does your organization distribute geospatial data sets through online public access? 64% said yes. So, how can you be involved with the Geographic Information Coordinating Council? The easiest way to get involved and add value is to volunteer and be a subject matter expert for one of our committees or working groups. Orthoimagery, elevation, streams, land cover, municipal boundaries, the 2022 reference frame adjustment, geographic names, and more. I read you the list. There are plenty of opportunities for involvement. Also, through your professional organization, become a member, if you're not already, of the North Carolina Property Mappers Association, the North Carolina Local Government Information Systems Association, Carolina URISA, a lead regional organization, represent your professional organization on the local government committee. You could participate in your professional organization as part of the GIS community. You could invite GICC members or staff to speak to your professional organization. You could document the value of GIS in your organization to help justify the investment in geospatial data and applications. You could participate in the North Carolina GIS listserv. And trying to go to the next slide, but it's not there. There we go. So there are some of the opportunities across the state for involvement. There's some folks that are already involved. And for folks that are in the 22% of the poll that we just showed that are in one-person shops, let us know how we best can assist you in getting involved. So, we want to realize the full value potential for geospatial data in North Carolina. And unfortunately, GIS resources are not distributed evenly across our state. GICC is concerned about how to realize the full value, and we're concerned about geospatial data and have more and have less and have not GIS operations in local, state, and government. So we want to try and bring people up, provide collaboration and technical know-how so that local communities can do more with what they have. We're exploring ways to reach out to GIS operations in need of technical assistance, enable more business process to add the where and visualize data. We solicit your thoughts, feedback, and suggestions in that effort. So to conclude, your presence here today proves that you see the value of GIS and that you have a desire to learn more and leverage your talents for the benefit of the people in your community and our state. GICC's mandate is to do the same, and we solicit and welcome each of you as a partner in that effort. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for sharing your insights, and thanks for your leadership on the council. Still things that we need to do better, so let's get to the business of doing them better. So I know you're anxious to go home. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes, and I'll send you on your way. How's that? So in closing, I'd like to thank you for attending the conference, obviously, in a new location and a longer duration. I know for some of you that's challenging because you are in those small shops, and being away from the office an additional day probably causes some strain back home. But Again, through the feedback mechanism, through the evaluation tool, I'd like to hear, what you think about this particular duration. I understand from many of you that you enjoyed the conference, again, especially the bacon, and we'll do that again as long as there is interest in doing that. So wherever we meet, whether it's Raleigh, whether it's Winston-Salem, or another location, it's great to know that we have a strong and vibrant community. We look forward to seeing you in 2 years, and I'm already energized by that next cycle. Drive safely. We'll see you again in 2 years.